Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I'm so thankful that you are here. A couple weeks ago, I made a video with 30 science questions that you just need to know. You guys loved it. You wanted more, so here's social studies. Now, bit of the test that you're taking, you can read through and interpret charts, graphs, and get a lot of the answers right. But there are quite a few questions on the test where you really need to know the social studies concept. That's why we have this video here. Now, I have 20 questions that I'm going to go over in this video. To gain access to the other 30 questions, click the link down below. Okay, I will have the entire PDF with all the questions and answers for you, as well as a bonus video that you will be able to watch where I go over the rest of those questions. My friends, it's only $5, which is like the cost of an energy drink, right? One energy drink or your future, right? Go for this, drink one less energy drink this week and buy this, guys. It will really help you get past the test and move on to the great things that you have in store. Okay, pause the video and go download it right now. Okay, welcome back. Let's get started. I am just so excited to go over social studies with you. All right, social studies questions, here we go. What is the highest court in the United States? So the court system has 3 levels. The first is called the district level, okay? And a lot of times that's called like the trial court, okay? So that is not going to be the highest. Next, we have the circuit court. And the circuit court is really considered the first level of the appeals court. So circuit court and appeals court are kind of like the same thing. And then ultimately the highest is the Supreme Court, which very few cases actually work their way up. It's also where things in the Constitution or maybe bills or laws are challenged, okay? That is the Supreme Court of the United States. Number 2, what was the main cause of the Civil War in the United States? Okay, so think back, the Civil War was the mid-1800s, right? And it's when we had the southern states and the northern states, and they were fighting against each other. And when you hear the word Civil War, that means a war within a country. So during the United States Civil War, it was really all about slavery, right? So some of them kind of fall within, right? So states' rights on whether states could have slaves or not. Economic differences, I mean, not really. Political disagreements, yeah. Should slaves be allowed or should they not be? So the answer here is slavery B. Who is the first president of the United States? Guys, you better know this one, right? I put it in here just hoping you would know it, but if you're an immigrant, maybe you don't, right? So George Washington was the first president. Abraham Lincoln was president during the Civil War era. Thomas Jefferson was actually shortly after George Washington, and then John F. Kennedy was around the 1950s, 60s. So one thing that's really important, you don't need to know exactly who was president during what year, but if you have a general idea of who was president and what was going on around that time, that will be really helpful for you, especially the bigger, well-known presidents. What was the main goal of the civil rights movement in the United States? So this happened in the 1960s, around that time. Okay, so to end racial segregation. So racial segregation, so think about racial, that's race, right? So people of different skin color. And then segregation is separating, right? So it's basically ending, if it doesn't really matter the color of your skin, we're all people, right? That's what it was about. And that is what the civil rights movement was all about. Honestly, I still don't understand why it's an issue, right? We're all people. Why does the color of our skin really matter? So, sending my love to everyone out there. Which city is located furthest west in the United States? So my recommendation is to get a map of the United States and really look at the main cities, right? Maybe the top 20 cities. Where approximately are they located? I've seen a lot of practice questions with this, and it doesn't provide you a map. It just expects you to know where these cities are located. Okay, so New York City, located on the East Coast, right? Let me draw my best picture of the United States. Okay, there it is. Not the best, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, so New York City is located right around here. And let's look at our map. We have north, south, east, and west, right? There's our compass. And Dallas, oh my gosh, I didn't really there, it should have been more like that. Dallas is located right around here in Texas. Whoops. Denver is Colorado, right about there. And Sacramento is the capital of California, right about there. So which one is the furthest west? That would be Sacramento right here, right there in California. So look up your biggest 20 cities in the United States and make sure you know where they're located. Which document begins with the words, "We the people of the United States of America," right? Okay, so these are 4 of the most important documents in our country, okay? So first we have the Declaration of Independence. That is what our 4 founders created to say, we're going to be our own country. We're not going to be part of England anymore. And that does not begin with "We the people." Then we have the Constitution, right? The Constitution goes through and explains, here is what our country is founded upon, okay? And actually that one is the answer. But let's go over the next ones. Bill of Rights, that would be the top 10 or the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And the Emancipation Proclamation is during slavery, indicating that our country will not have slavery anymore. So our answer is B, the Constitution of the United States. Number 7, what is the main goal of the European Union? Okay, so the European Union is basically a collection of countries within Europe that sort of combine together, not for everything, but for some things. I want you to think about the United States of America, right? There are 50 states, and we all sort of collaborate together. Yes, some of our things are a little bit different, but for the most part, we're one country, okay? So while the European Union doesn't have as much as maybe the United States do in the collaboration, it still is a collaboration among countries. And what is the purpose? To promote economic cooperation? Yes, that's our answer here. Military alliance, each country has their own military. They can decide for themselves. Increase cultural exchange. Hey, we're going to get a little bit of your country and exchange cultures. Not so much. They're pretty proud of their different cultures. And reduce immigration has nothing to do with immigration whatsoever. So our answer is A. What was the main goal of the Cold War? Okay, so the Cold War took place between 1947 and 1953. So this was after World War II. And it was really between primarily the United States and the Soviet Union. And the purpose essentially not to spread democracy, right? They weren't really about democracy at the Soviet Union. Establish a U.S. communist government? No, right? Remember the Constitution we talked about just a minute ago? No, it's not to develop communism. Establish capitalism? Not even that, but really to prevent the spread of communism. We didn't want communism to be spread all around the world, especially here in the United States. How is the number of electoral college votes that each state receives determined, and why does it vary between states? Okay, so let's just determine what electoral college is. So in the Constitution, it determined that the president is not voted by popularity. My friends, it is not a popularity contest, okay? So instead, the Electoral College is what determines who the president is. And the way this works is each state has 2 senators. So each state gets at least 2 votes plus 1 representative, and that's based on population. So each state gets at least 3 votes total. And the more representatives, the larger the population of the state, the more electoral college votes. Okay, so look here at this map. So we have states like North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Vermont. They each have 3 votes, okay, based on their lower population. And then states, look at this. I mean, California, 54 votes. Texas, 40 votes. Florida, 30 votes, right? Those states have a larger population, so they have more votes. And the way this works then is whichever president that's running gets at least 270 of these electoral votes, they win the election. So it doesn't matter if they receive more votes. What matters is which one receives more electoral college votes. Okay, back to our question here. So it is based on the state's total population to ensure equal representation. Not really, right? It's not based on the population of the states. That's based on how many representatives they have, but it's not this, okay? It's based on the state's total land area to ensure equal geographic representation. Look down there at Alaska, right? Or I guess look up at Alaska, right? They only have 3 votes, right? Whereas it's by far the largest state in land, but they are one of the states that receives the fewest votes. Okay, it's equal for all states regardless of size or population. No, it's not. And D, it is based on the state's total congregational delegation, including both representatives and senators. Yes, my friends, that is the answer. And what was the main cause of the American Revolution? Right? So the Revolutionary War that happened back in the 1700s. Why were we trying to separate from England, the United Kingdom? I don't know if it was the United Kingdom at that point, but why were we trying to separate from England? Really, to gain our independence, right? So we are an independent country. We're not dependent upon any other countries. 11. Who elects the President of the United States? Okay, guys, we just went over this. Were you paying attention? Okay, so the answer, the House of Representatives, no, right? The Senate, no. The Supreme Court, no. It is the Electoral College. If you need to go back to question number 9 so you can review it, please do. I mean, it's a critical concept for you to understand. Friends, we are halfway through. Great job. If you haven't already downloaded the slides that accompany this, or I guess the worksheet that accompanies this, and the bonus video to go over all the other questions, make sure that you do. It's only $5. Like, that's less than a Red Bull. That's less than a coffee at a coffee shop. Guys, it's well worth your money. $5. Not only that, but it supports me, right? I'm giving you all this free content. $5 can really go far. So please help me out and yourself out by clicking that link and purchasing this. Okay, which country was responsible for the bombing of Pearl Harbor? Japan, Germany, Italy, or the United States? So this was during World War II, right? And Pearl Harbor, which is located in Hawaii, was bombed. Which country bombed Pearl Harbor? Japan. And then subsequently, what did the United States do? They bombed Hiroshima, and just terrible. Both were horrible events in history that have had a Which of the following is the largest state in the United States by area? Okay, when I was a kid, I used to love geography and looking at the size of the different states. So we have the 4 largest states, okay? So I'm going to draw my little map again. Let's see how it goes this time. Okay, and then we have Alaska over here. Oh gosh, that's a terrible Alaska. Okay, So which is the largest? So we have the continental United States, and then we have the whole United States. And so Alaska is actually the largest. If we were to put Alaska in the United States, it would take up like that much room. It's huge. Texas is the largest in the continental United States, followed by California and then Montana. What is the capital of New York State? Is it New York City? No. Buffalo? No. Syracuse? No. It is Albany, New York. You might need to know a couple of the capitals, but really don't spend too much time on capitals. Really, like I said earlier, know the top 20 cities and where they are located. That will serve you much more than memorizing capitals. Which of the following is the longest river in the United States? So these are four of probably the longer rivers, but one of them is the longest, and that is the Mississippi River. When you were a kid, did you remember practicing how to spell Mississippi? Mississippi. Like, we would practice that over and over and just thought we were so cool because we could spell Mississippi. Which mountain range runs through the western United States? Okay, I chose this question because it's a very vague answer. So let's look at, here we have the Appalachian Mountains, which are right in this area on the eastern part of the United States. The Rocky Mountains are the largest mountains, right? If it would have said like the largest ones, then that would have been a little better. So they're running through right here. So we have like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico. So that's those are the Rocky Mountains. And then we have the Sierra Nevadas, which are in California, and then the Cascades, which are in Washington, Oregon. So what is the answer? I guess it could be any of these three. But, general geography of the United States is really important for you to understand. Which of the following states is known for cheese production? Okay, friends, think football, okay? What are the cheese heads, right? That comes from Green Bay, which is in Wisconsin. So the answer is Wisconsin, although there are many dairy-producing states, especially in that region. What is the smallest state in the United States by area? We went over the biggest, and now the smallest is actually going to be Rhode Island. Compared to some of those big states, Rhode Island, you can just like drive through it in, I don't even know how long, a couple of hours, maybe an hour, and blink and you'll miss it, right? It's just a tiny little state compared to some of those western states. Which of the following is the largest city in the United States by population? This is interesting. It definitely varies, but right now it is New York City, which has about 8 or 9 million people. But this is always a tricky question because we have the city itself, but then there are the surrounding areas, right? The suburbs that are maybe not necessarily considered New York, right? Or Los Angeles, even though they're like right next to it and it still looks like one big city. The largest city in the world is Tokyo, which is about 50 million people. Whoa! What was the outcome of the Civil War? The North and South became two separate countries. Are we? Are we two separate countries? No, we're one country, right? It did not divide our country. Slavery was abolished and the Union was preserved. Yes, slavery is no longer. But let's look at the other answers. The South won and became the dominant region of the United States. Did the South win? Do we have slavery? No. The war ended in stalemate with no clear winner. Some wars do, right? Some wars just kind of fizzle out, no winner. But in this case, there was a winner, which was the North, and that's why we no longer have slavery. We made it through the 30 questions. Great job, guys. I am proud of you. Be proud of yourself. You're working hard. You're going to get your GED or your HiSET. I just know it. I can feel it. So my friends, make sure that you believe in yourself. just like I believe in you. Peace, guys. And I'll catch you in the next video, right? See you over to answer those next 30 questions.